Well, a woman has been arrested in connection with a stabbing attack on the Assistant Chief of Police of Wilson. Tameka Armstead was charged with battery of a dating partner and aggravated assault of a dating partner. Law enforcement officials tell us the stabbing happened early Monday morning when deputies arrived to find Assistant Police Chief Tyronne Kilbourne with at least 2 stab wounds. He has since been released from the hospital. Armstead was booked into the East Feliciana Parish prison. Her bond has not yet been set.
In one of the quietest towns in America, where everyone knows everyone and nothing ever makes national headlines, a door opened in the middle of the night and a secret life was suddenly exposed. What began as a private relationship turned into a shocking confrontation that would leave a top law enforcement official fighting for his life, a woman in handcuffs, and an entire police department forced to answer questions no one expected. This wasn't a crime on the streets. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was personal. This was emotional. This was betrayal. And it happened in the most unexpected place, behind closed doors, in a bedroom, in a town where everyone thought they knew everyone's business. Today we break down the story of how love, lies, and a late-night discovery collided and changed everything. Welcome back to Crime Trail, where we tell real stories with facts, clarity, and respect for everyone involved. If you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss future updates on these case and other true events. Now, let's take you to the town where it all began. Wilson, Louisiana is a tiny village in East Feliciana Parish with a population of just a few hundred people. It's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where neighbors recognize cars and faces, and where the police department is more than a set of uniforms. It's family. Officers aren't strangers here. They're friends, neighbors, people you've known your whole life. The village sits about 40 miles north of Baton Rouge, tucked between farmland and quiet highways. It's been there since the 1800s, built around the railroad that once connected this part of Louisiana to the rest of the state. But the trains have long since stopped making regular stops, and Wilson has remained what it's always been: small, tight-knit, and peaceful. Crime here is rare. Serious crime? Almost unheard of. So, when word spread on a Friday morning that one of the highest-ranking officers in the Wilson Police Department had been rushed to the hospital after a domestic incident, the news didn't just shock people, it stunned them. This wasn't a city with constant headlines. This was a town where secrets usually stay hidden until something extraordinary happens. And the man at the center of it was no ordinary resident. The officer involved is Assistant Police Chief Tyronne Lamarcus Kilbourne Jr. At 39 years old, Kilbourne had spent years serving the community, rising through the ranks to become second in command of the Wilson Police Department. In a department with only a handful of officers, that position carries weight. He wasn't just a supervisor, he was a leader, a decision maker, someone people trusted and depended on. According to investigators, Kilbourne was well respected within the department and known throughout the village. In a place this small, officers don't just patrol streets. They're part of the fabric of daily life. They know which families need checking on, which roads flood during heavy rain, which houses have dogs that bark at strangers. Kilbourne was one of those officers, visible, present, trusted. But behind the badge, behind the authority, behind the respect he'd earned over the years, there was a private life few people knew about. A life that would soon collide with public attention in the most dramatic way possible. The person who would change everything that night was Tameka Rachelle Armstead. She's 47 years old. According to investigators, she was in a romantic relationship with Assistant Chief Kilbourne. The details of how long they'd been together or how serious the relationship was haven't been made public. But what is clear is that emotions ran deep, trust had been given, and expectations had been set. This wasn't a causal connection. This was someone who had invested time, emotion, and faith in the man now at the center of a serious incident. And in moments like this, when trust is broken, when betrayal is discovered, even the most level-headed person can lose control. According to investigators, Kilbourne and Armstead had been dating for some time. Like many relationships, it had its ups and downs, its challenges, and its moments of connection. But beneath the surface, there were cracks. Whether those cracks had been there from the beginning, or whether they developed over time, no one outside the relationship can say for certain. What is known is that the events about to unfold were not the result of a professional conflict, not a crime in progress, not a police investigation gone wrong. This was personal. This was about trust, about loyalty, about what happens when the person you believe in is suddenly revealed to be someone else entirely. And when that moment of discovery came, when the door opened and reality crashed in, everything changed. It was the early hours of Friday morning, January 23, 2026. Most of Wilson was asleep. The streets were quiet. No sirens, no flashing lights, no sign that anything unusual was about to unfold. Inside a residence on the 10,000 block of Grant Street, Assistant Police Chief Tyronne Kilbourne was not alone. According to investigators, he was in the bedroom with another woman. Not the woman he was in a relationship with, someone else. At some point during the night, Tameka Armstead arrived at the location. What she saw when she entered that bedroom would change everything. Investigators confirmed that Armstead discovered Kilbourne in bed with the other woman. There was no mistaking what she was seeing. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't something that could be explained away or talked through later. It was betrayal, undeniable and raw. In that moment, the confrontation began. Emotions erupted. Voices were raised. Shock turned to anger. Anger turned to rage. And within seconds, a relationship that had been built on trust collapsed entirely. During that confrontation, Armstead is accused of using a sharp object. Investigators have not released what type of weapon it was, and striking Kilbourne multiple times. According to official reports from the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office, he suffered stab wounds to the chest and to the back. This was not a single strike in a moment of panic. This was deliberate, sustained. 2 separate wounds, chest and back, suggesting movement, struggle, and intent. The woman who had been with Kilbourne was not reported to be physically injured, but she became an immediate witness to a scene that no one in that room would ever forget. Within moments, the seriousness of the injuries became clear. This was no longer just a domestic dispute, it was now a medical emergency. Someone called 911. First responders were dispatched to the residence just after 3 in the morning. When they arrived, they found Assistant Police Chief Kilbourne conscious, but in severe pain, suffering from penetrating injuries to his torso. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize him before transporting him to a local hospital for urgent treatment. As this was happening, the reality of the situation was setting in. A senior law enforcement officer had been critically injured inside a bedroom during a confrontation fueled by a discovered affair. And in a town where almost nothing ever makes headlines, this single moment would become the most talked about event in years. Paramedics rushed Kilbourne to the hospital, where he received treatment for the stab wounds to his chest and back. According to law enforcement officials, his condition was serious but stable. The wounds were life-threatening in nature, but doctors were able to stabilize him. At the scene, deputies from the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office took Armstead into custody without incident. She did not flee. She did not resist arrest. According to reports, she was cooperative as she was placed in handcuffs and transported to the East Feliciana Parish Jail. The residence was secured and the investigation began immediately. For a department as small as Wilson's, this was unprecedented. The police force couldn't investigate one of their own, so the case was handed over to the sheriff's office. And as the sun rose that Friday morning, the story began to spread. According to the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office, Tameka Rachelle Armstead was formally charged with 2 counts: battery of a dating partner and aggravated assault of a dating partner. Under Louisiana law, battery of a dating partner involves the intentional use of force against someone in a romantic relationship. It's a domestic violence charge that recognizes the specific harm caused when violence occurs between partners. Aggravated assault takes it further. It involves an act that causes serious bodily injury or involves the use of a dangerous weapon. Given that Kilbourne suffered stab wounds to vital areas, his chest and his back, the aggravated assault charge reflects the severity of what happened in that bedroom. Investigators emphasize that the incident stemmed from a personal dispute between 2 people in a relationship. This was not related to Kilbourne's duties as a police officer. This was not a professional conflict. This was domestic. This was emotional. This was the result of a betrayal that turned violent. As of late January 2026, Armstead remained in custody at the Parish jail. The legal process was just beginning, and the community was left grappling with questions no one thought they'd have to ask. In a town of just a few hundred residents, news travels fast. By midday Friday, everyone in Wilson knew. The assistant police chief had been stabbed. His girlfriend was in jail. It happened because he was caught with another woman. For neighbors who had known Kilbourne for years, the news was difficult to process. This was someone they trusted, someone who wore a badge, someone who represented law and order in their community. But this incident revealed something else: that authority figures are human, that they make mistakes, that they have private lives filled with the same struggles, temptations, and failures as anyone else. The police department faced questions, not about the incident itself, but about what happens now. Would Kilbourne return to duty? How would the department address what had happened? What does it mean for a community when one of its leaders becomes the victim in a case like this? Those questions remain unanswered. What is clear is that the effects of that night will linger far beyond the legal proceedings. In a place where everyone knows everyone, where trust is built over years and shattered in moments, this story will be remembered. And it raises a larger question that goes beyond Wilson, beyond this case, beyond any single incident. How do we balance the private lives of public figures with the expectations we place on them? When someone in a position of authority makes deeply personal mistakes, does that change how we see them professionally? Should it? There are no easy answers. But in Wilson, Louisiana, those questions are now unavoidable. This case is about more than one night, more than one relationship, more than one act of violence. It's a story about trust and betrayal, about how quickly emotions can override logic, about how someone can go from partner to attacker in the span of a few minutes. It's also a reminder that no amount of authority, no uniform, no badge can shield anyone from the consequences of personal choices. And when those choices involve deception and betrayal, the fallout can be swift, violent, and irreversible. According to investigators, Kilbourne is recovering from his injuries. He's expected to make a full physical recovery. But the emotional and professional scars from that night are something else entirely. For Armstead, the legal battle is just beginning. The charges she faces are serious, and the consequences could alter the course of her life. And for the people of Wilson, this case is a stark reminder that even in the quietest places, human drama can explode without warning. As this story continues to develop, more details will emerge about the legal process, the community impact, and what happens next for everyone involved. In a town of just a few hundred people, one night changed everything. The case of Assistant Police Chief Tyronne Kilbourne and Tameka Armstead is far from over. Court dates will be set, evidence will be presented, and the truth of what happened in that bedroom will eventually be laid out in front of a judge and jury. But for now, the facts speak for themselves. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll be following every development on this case. And if you made it this far, thank you for being here. This is Crime Trail, and we'll see you in the next one.